So are firefighters going to go on strike, do you think?
Good morning. Well, we're in the middle of a ballot, as you say. It's a secret ballot. I won't know the results of that till the end of January, but all the indications are that there's a huge amount of anger out there among our members. This isn't just this year. This is 12 years of stagnating pay, driven by central government, unfortunately, but also by fire service employers and fire chiefs. And we keep being told to tighten our belts like workers across the country. And firefighters are telling us they've had enough. They are struggling to pay the bills. And that's why we've ended up in this situation with us balloting, unfortunately, for industrial action. People are not prepared to take this any longer. And they're telling us they want to fight back.
Is it responsible for a key emergency service to go on strike?
Well, of course, nobody wants to go on strike. Nobody joins the fire service to go on strike. But at the end of the day, people have to pay the bills, and it comes to breaking point. And we have people, as you've reported, in some cases even using food banks, reported by their own employers that that's happening. It's acknowledged that pay has fallen significantly year after year, real wages falling, and eventually people had to look after their families. And the government needs to step in, put money into public services, including the fire service, to provide decent funding for decent pay to stop living standards falling.
Yeah, I was just looking at the figures. Once fully qualified, firefighters' basic salary in London will increase to £38,340 to £39,325 per annum.
That's right.
The average salary, is that right? The average salary in the UK, £38,600.
No. Just you need to compare apples with apples. It's the basics of statistical honesty. You're conflating London figures with national figures. The national figure for a competent firefighter is £32,000 a year. That's the salary of a competent firefighter after several years of training. So you're using incorrect figures. And
I'm quoting the London figures, 39,325.
In that case, you would need to compare the London figure with the London wage, wouldn't you, rather than comparing the London figure?
So there's not a lot of difference.
Let me finish. You've asked a question. Asked a question. If you're going to compare a London salary of a firefighter, you need to compare it with the London salary of an average worker, and that's not what you're doing. You're twisting the facts. Get your facts right if you're going to ask questions.
OK, you tell me what the figures are then, because the figures on your website say that this is from your website. It says £39,325 is what a qualified firefighter's basic salary in London.
That's not taken from our website. The competent firefighter's wage in the UK is £32,244. So I don't know where you've got your figures from.
OK, well, let's talk about what the government says, because the government says that if they give a double-digit pay rise, it's going to fuel inflation even further, and that is going to make the cost of living crisis last even longer.
Well, this is just nonsense, because there is no evidence that the pay of public sector workers has caused inflation whatsoever. So instead of simply repeating government spin to people, you should look at the facts. Inflation has been caused by factors far outside our control. Our members, as other workers, have had to be told for more than a decade to tighten their belts, while the richest people in this society get richer and richer. Corporations make bigger and bigger profits. The government just a few weeks ago was willing to hand out £45 billion in tax cuts to the wealthiest in society, but tell working people that they need to tighten their belts and their families just have to make do. That's simply not acceptable, and millions of people across the country are saying it's not acceptable. That's what lies behind our dispute and the other disputes that you're seeing across the country.
Yeah, talking about those disputes, the General Secretary of the PCSU says it's a matter of time before we see synchronized strikes. Is that something you'd support?
Well, if people are facing a common attack, which is on their living standards, why would they not work together to try and force that attack back? So, yes, we will talk to other unions. We're in a dispute for ourselves, which is about firefighters' pay with our employers and the funding necessary for the government to resolve that. But other workers are in a very similar position. And yes, of course, workers talk to each other and trade unions talk to each other. It's simply common sense.
Is there not a fear, though, that you'll lose public support? If we have a situation that is essentially a general strike, won't the public get seriously fed up?
Well, I think the experience we've got is that millions of ordinary people across the country are sick and tired of the richest people in society be given dodgy contracts during COVID, tax cuts, and seeing the profits of big corporations boosted year after year after year, while ordinary people are told there is no money for them. It's simply ludicrous. During the pandemic, our members and others were called COVID heroes. They were clapped by the Prime Minister. They kept essential services going. And as soon as that crisis begins to ease, we're told there's no money for any rewards and that people need to take further pay cuts. How long should people carry on taking pay cuts? It's simply nonsense and it's not acceptable.
OK, we must leave it there. The results of that ballot, Matt, you did say end of January, was it?
30th of January, yeah.
OK, we'll find out more then. For now, Matt Wrack from the FBU, thank you very much.
Thank you.